course, everybody's got a dream when they're a little girl, a little boy. But when you kind of grew up, you got older, you had a dream, right? Okay, mine, just so you know, okay, mine, I was supposed to be on Broadway right now, dancing, okay, and then when I got off Broadway, I was supposed to be dancing for somebody famous, a famous singer, all right? But God had other plans, right? And I'm sure you've had dreams, like maybe there's more zeros in your bank account than there are right now. Maybe you dream you were going to be skinnier, okay, that's one of my dreams. Maybe you dream that you would have children by now, all right? Or maybe you dream you would have that perfect fella or that perfect gal sitting beside of you in this fancy house in a cul-de-sac, right? And the dreams are kind of different than what you thought they were going to be. So tonight we're going to talk about when God kind of messes up your dreams and messes up your plans. Sometimes he loves to come and mess it all up for us, right? Well, kind of like, and then there's sometimes when you think, well, gosh, if I could just have a Zoom meeting with God, if we could just do this Zoom thing on Monday morning, he could kind of tell me what my life's going to look like so my choices in my life would match where it is I'm going. That would kind of help, right? If we kind of knew where we were going, we would go pursue those jobs, we would pursue those people, and we would do all the right things. And instead, it seems like we find ourselves in weird spots. And then we're like, well, wait a minute, how did I end up here if I'm supposed to be at Broadway? Why am I at Unity Church right now? What is going on, right? So, I want you to remember this, because at the end, I'm going to bring this full circle, but we need to start writing our dreams in pencil, okay? Because God's going to kind of mess those up. Sometimes, maybe the Broadway dream for me was the rough draft, right? And he just kind of crumbled up the paper and said, no, that's not what we'll do. That's not what we'll do. And sometimes he gives us a whole bunch of talents, but they're no good if our character's not good. So sometimes he gives you all these things, all these perfect, wonderful things as gifts, but then maybe there's something wrong with our character that needs polishing, right? Kind of like when, I'll go back to that in a second. My mind likes to jump. So sometimes we like to help God out, and that's not a good thing, right? God doesn't need any help, right? He needs you to make some of the mistakes you're making and go down the path you're making to make you stronger, because at the end of the life, when you go back and you look back, you're like, oh yeah, well, I probably never could have done that had I not gone through this experience, because then I couldn't help this person and that sort of thing. Like, you can't even get a job without experience. Same thing. God's like, I can't take you down this path without all these experiences. So God doesn't need your help. And do you remember when Abraham and Sarah were together, and God had promised Abraham that he would give him as many descendants as there are stars in the sky. All right? So by the time the dude was 90 and Sarah was 80, there was no kids, right? So Sarah's thinking to herself, in order for this dream to come true, I might better help God out. So I tell you what, honey, Abraham, babe, whatever, I'm going to let you have a sleepover with the cleaning lady, all right? Because that's basically what happened, right? So, I mean, it kind of happened. So, hopefully y'all can put pieces together. All right, so they had a little sleepover, right? And they produced a child. Well, that kind of messed things up for Sarah, because she got to thinking about it, and she was like, wait a minute. This ain't right. This is not what I was trying to help God out, but I think I screwed things up for myself, because whoever's the first child born gets the inheritance of everything of that honey Abraham was promised. So the Lord hears her cry, and anyway, by the time he's 100 and she's 90, God comes and speaks to Abraham and says, Abraham, I promised you will have a child within a year. And he's like, all right, hold up, time for the Lord. I am like 100, okay? And my wife, she ain't looking so good at 90. I mean, I don't know, have you seen her? She's 90, she ain't looking so good. I don't know about us having another baby. All right, but they did. And that was an example of how you shouldn't be trying to get in the midst and help God with your plan. You need to stay in your lane. You heard that? Stay in your lane. I tell my husband all the time. He gets my business. Stay in your lane. All right. Well, same thing. I don't know if y'all remember Sarah, Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. Remember that story? Tanya Harding was the figure skater that was trying for the Olympics. You remember? I'm looking at all my old folks in the room, okay? And remember, she had a dream. Her dream was, I'm going to be the next gold medal Olympian ice figure skater. All right? And she was so not in tune with God's plans and so in tune to her lust over winning and the title and everything else that she had her ex-husband hire a hitman to whack Nancy Kerrigan in the knee when she was coming off of the practice round before the Olympic Games. All right, so she sneaks, finds out Nancy's skating schedule at the rink before their Olympic performance, and her ex-husband hires a hit guy to come up with a police baton and whack her in the knee. So guess what? She has to sit the Olympics out, and guess what happens? Tanya Harding wins gold. All right? She got what she wanted by taking people out. You can't do that. You can't be Sarah that's married to Abraham and think you can come in the middle of God's plan for you and fix things. And you can't be Tanya Harding running around whacking people because you want to be in her spot. Right? Just like Jesse, what was that guy's name? The Empire actor. Remember that? Just in 2019 in Chicago, he was upset about his salary. So what did he do? He wrote himself a threatening letter. Okay? He wrote himself a threatening letter and hired people to get in the alley and beat them up. All right? You messing up God's plan. Maybe God had another plan from you, Jesse. Maybe your plan wasn't to be an actor. But he intervened and hired a hit guy to assault him in an alleyway. You can't do that. You got to get back in tune with what God has for you, right? All right, let's talk about Joseph. Abraham and Sarah had Isaac. Isaac and Rebekah had twins. Okay, anybody that knows the Bible, you with me? The twins were always at rival. Remember, Jacob stole the birthright. He traded it for a stew, for some stew. The guy was a hunter. He came in. He was starving. He was like, man, please, 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 I've been out hunting all day. Can I have some stew? And he said, I'll trade you for your birthright. So he traded them. And then later on his daddy's deathbed, his daddy was going to bless them forever. And he was only going to bless one of the twins. And he said, go fix me some stew. Go out, find the animal, kill it, prepare it, fix me some stew, and bring it back. And when you do, I will bless you. The same guy tricked his daddy and got blessed again. All right, so here's Jacob. Jacob ends up deciding to leave because his brother wants to kill him. His twin brother is after him. All right, he's done him wrong twice. He's on the run. He decides to go live with his uncle Laban. All right. He travels, goes to see his uncle Laban. He walks up, he gets off his, he puts in the Google Maps his address, and then he gets there. Takes a little nap along the way at a little hotel where God talks to him. And then he makes it to Uncle Laban's house. He gets off of his horse or out of the Uber, and he's talking to Uncle Laban, and he says, look, Uncle, this is what's going on. My brother wants to kill me. I'm on the run. I'm a fugitive. I'm trying to hide out. Can I hide out at your house here? I'll work. I'll tend to the flock. I just need you to make a place for me to stay. He said, I'll tell you what. I'll do that. I'll pay you a lot of money. He paid him $3.11 for the entire year. That's all he made for the whole year. It was called 10 shekels, and he made $3.11 for the whole year. Well, and he was sitting there making a deal with his uncle when, guess what? Rebecca, no, what was her name? Rebecca. She walked out, and, what's that girl's name? That girl's name, so Jacob, yes, I was right. I should have questioned myself. Rachel. So Rachel walks out of her daddy's house. She's out there, getting some water with a pail. I don't know what she was doing. And Jacob looks up and says, "Oh my gosh, Uncle, who is that? Is that my cousin Rachel? Whoa, she's hot." Well, he makes a deal. He says, "Tell you what, you work for me 7 years and you can marry my daughter Rachel." Well, he worked 7 years. It only seems like 7 weeks to him. All he's thinking about is Rachel. I just want to marry Rachel. Well, the night of the wedding, they have a big wedding, all right? It's out there at Rock Springs. They done got all the florists out there, the table set, got the ice fountain going. They got all this pretty stuff. And she comes out, but her veil is over her face, right? So Jacob can't see her, right? He just is like, "Oh, Rachel." Well, they have the ceremony. Back then, you didn't have to pull the veil back, so she just stayed with the veil over. They go on home. They're so tired, they just go straight to bed, right? You get up the next morning, and she gets up and fixes the coffee, right? She's going to bring it in there and wake them up and tell them, "Here, take some coffee." When she does that, Jacob looks up, he rolls over in the bed, and he looks at her and he goes, "Leah, what are you doing here?" The father had done switched the daughters on him. He married the wrong daughter. He worked 7 years. All he dreamed about was Rachel. And the daddy had done mixed them up and gave him, he said, "Son, don't you know it's more custom that I marry off my first child than my last child. So if you want my last child, you got to work another 7 years to get her." All right? So he does. Meanwhile, babies keep coming out of Leah, all right? She done had like a whole lot of boys, and then she had a little girl, Dinah. And then, that was that cleaning lady of Leah's, so then she's got 2 boys. And then the Lord makes it so that Rachel has a hard time getting pregnant, but she's got a cleaning lady too, so you know what happens there. So then we have all these children. We have 11 boys, all right, and a little girl. Well, all he ever wanted was Rachel. It was the whole dream, the whole time. I can't help children coming out of these women, but that's all he ever wanted, right? Mm-hmm. So finally, after Rachel cries to God, "Please, please." It's like we're in a competition with my sister over there, and she's popping out all these children, and I got nothing. And this is all we ever wanted, Lord. And so the Lord makes it so that she can have a child, and she does. And that child becomes his favorite. Why? Because Rachel was his favorite wife, so why shouldn't that be his favorite child, right? All right, so fast forward. Everybody for Christmas that year got an Etch-a-Sketch except the favorite child. He got a long fur coat. All right, that thing must have come from Nordstrom's or somewhere high dollar, is all I'm saying. It was coated in every animal possible, and all the other children got an Etch-a-Sketch. All right, so it was pretty apparent who was the favorite child, right? So this boy, sometimes you should keep your dreams to yourself, right? I'm just saying. But the boy would get up and he'd be like, "You know what I dreamed about last night, brothers? I dreamed that we were out there picking grain, and my grain stalks were standing tall, and all y'all's grain stalks were bending over and bowing to me." And they're like, "Well, that was kind of rude. Keep your dream to yourself. Stay in your own lane," right? Then he would come and he would talk about other things. He said, "Last night I dreamed that I was the sun and all the stars were bowing to me." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, give it up. Like, we're tired of hearing about all your dreams. We're tired of Daddy's favorite little boy. Daddy's favorite little boy, right? We get Etch-a-Sketch and a Rubik's Cube and you get a fur coat. I get it. You're the favorite." Well, one day, not my favorite child, because he gets to stay home in the air conditioner, right? But all the other children were out there feeding the flock and all that kind of stuff. And Daddy said, "You know what? I need you to go out there and check up on your brothers. Just see if they need anything. I don't really want you to do any labor. I just want you to go check on them, see if they need anything to eat." So, of course, he's going to wear the fur coat, right? See, I can see right now, we're like modeling, like with that fur coat. I can just see him like walking down the desert. I don't know where they're walking. They're walking, right? They strutting. He may even do like a 360, with a jacket. And they see him coming, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, here he comes. Guys, we got to do something about this boy. We don't like him." Let's bury them whole, and let's put them in it, and let's bury them alive. Well, Judah, the first child of Leah, said, I don't know about that dream. That don't sound right. Daddy's never going to fall for that. So they done got him in the pit. He's down there in the hole, and they're all standing above him, trying to decide what they're going to do with him, right? What lie they're going to come up with. About that time, an Uber caravan's coming from Egypt, right? And so they decided, I tell you what, we could probably make some money if we sell our brother to the slaves, to the Egyptians. So they wave down the caravan, stop, stop. They pull him out, and they said, tell you what, for some money, we'll give you our brother. You can have him as a slave, right? So he's sold as a slave, and the brothers are like, Krug, what are we going to tell Daddy when we get home? Where's his favorite son go? So in the midst, of course, they ripped off the jacket, trying to get him in the caravan. So they had the jackets. They're like, we're going to slay an animal, get some blood on the jacket, we're going to take it back, we're going to tell Daddy he got eaten by wolves. Yeah, he got eaten by wolves, Daddy. I'm so sorry he died. I'm sorry your favorite child was gone, but he got eaten by wolves. Poor guy's over there in Egypt being a slave, right? It don't take long. He's kind of moving up the chain. People are starting to notice how hard he works, how much effort he's putting in, right? So Daddy's all upset. He's grieving forever and ever and ever. I mean, he can't get over this. I mean, Rebecca was his favorite wife, and she's still around, but his favorite son got eaten by wolves. I mean, I don't even know if life should go on at this point. Well, he's worked his way up. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Joseph is a good-looking guy, all right? Joseph, woo, he must look Italian or something. I don't know what color his skin was, but he looked good. So good that the king's wife started noticing him. She started coming around, flirting her hair. What you doing, Joseph? And he's over there working. She's like, you don't have a sleepover? And he said, no, I don't. And she tried to have a sleepover. Well, it made her mad that he didn't want to have a little slumber party with her, right? A little pancake and PJs, right? So she kind of ripped at his shirt a little bit and decided she would take that to her husband and twist the lie and say that he was trying to come on to her, and how dare him do that? He's just a hired help. So guess what the king does? Throws him in prison. All right, so here, the favorite son has gone from the pit to the prison, and now he's in prison. All right? He's down there forever. All right, so when he went out to check on his brothers, he's only 17. When he gets in prison, he's only 19. All right, by the time he's 30 years old, that man's been forgotten about in that prison. The baker and the butler are put in the prison because the king thought they were trying to poison him, right? So they're in the prison, everybody down there having a little party. Not really. And the butler and the baker start having nightmares and dreams. They want them interpreted, right? So Joseph does this little dream word and tells them what the meaning of the dream means. Meanwhile, the baker and the butler, they get a free card. They got the go-home pass from the Monopoly card, you know, the go-home, get out of jail free. So they get out of jail. They're back working upstairs. And the only thing Joseph asked them, will you please tell the king I've been down here forever and he's forgotten about me? You think they remember to tell the king that? No. They were like, no, we got time. We go back to our job, right? We got a job to do. Until one day the king starts having bad dreams. He starts calling in the ministers, starts calling in the jugglers, the carnival people for the Pitt County Fair. Everybody come on over, help me figure out what these dreams mean. Nobody could interpret it. And then all of a sudden the baker said, I just remembered, there's somebody in jail that we were supposed to tell you about. He can interpret the dream. So he goes up there and interprets the dream. Then he gets the job. He gets to take over the palace, all the food. Anyway, fast forward, there are 7 years of famine coming. You got 7 years to pack up your little food. You seen that show on TV where the hoarders hoard all the groceries in that dungeon room or their pantry room. They got stockpiles of toothpaste and stockpiles of beans and cans and all that. All right, well, that's what Egypt had to do. They had to make them a stockpile of groceries. All right, so much that they could feed everybody. Well, the famine comes, and remember Joseph's Jacob's father that was crying, thought he had died. They're out of food. Guess what? They got to come to Egypt and beg. Kind of like Seinfeld on the Soup Nazi. Remember that show? The Seinfeld? And you had to go there and you weren't allowed to talk to the cook. You just had to say, soup please. And you had to put your head down. You couldn't talk, soup please. Next. And if you called talking, remember that? Kramer started talking and he got kicked out. Y'all remember what I'm talking about? Okay. Making me look like a crazy. I know what I'm talking about. I watched the show. So they had to go beg for food, right? So the point of my story here, in case you're lost, okay, is that the favorite child went from the pit to the prison to the palace. His dream, God's dream for him, was so much bigger than what he ever thought. His dream was to serve others and to be there for his family when his family would have nothing. Right? God put him in the place. If he didn't go to the pit and if he didn't go to the prison, he would have been there to provide food for his family. But anybody else would have seen that as bad luck. Right? You at your job, you do something bad. I mean, hopefully nobody here. But you go to prison and you're like, I don't understand what I'm doing in prison. Right? What if you're Joseph this whole time? There's God's plan, and without all those steps, you wouldn't be where you are. Right? Or let's talk about a different Joseph. Let's talk about Joseph and the Virgin Mary. All right? Everybody likes to call them that's not Jesus' father. Okay, let's get that straight. It's kind of a twisted story, but yes, Joseph and Virgin Mary. It was their dream to get married, right? To have she went 3 months to go live with a relative, Elizabeth, right? They were picking out china. They would get the floor arrangements done. She was out there trying on her dress because she was engaged to Joseph, right? And the Lord had already told her, you're going to give birth without a man, and it's going to be Jesus, right? And she was like, I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but okay, Lord, I do believe in you, and I do trust you, and I do love you, so okay. Meanwhile, she's at Elizabeth's house, they're picking out china, the floor arrangements. I mean, they got the color scheme of the wedding going on. They got the wedding planner. She's out shopping for a wedding dress, and wedding dress don't fit. The girl's done got pregnant. Imagine, right? God's done put Jesus in her tummy, right? And now the wedding dress already don't fit. We got problems. And back then, the law was if a woman got pregnant and won't marry, she would be stoned to death. They were going to kill her by throwing stones at her. That's horrible. And so she was thinking about the law, and then she was thinking about, what would Joseph say? He's going to think I've been cheating on him. And I haven't been cheating on him. I'm up here picking out a wedding dress and china and the floor arrangements. I ain't done nothing wrong. And the Lord came and spoke to Joseph and said, trust me, this is okay. The dream I have is so much bigger than your floor arrangements. It's so much bigger than you two saying I do. It's so much bigger than anything that you've ever seen in your life. Right? I'm so far in my notes, I don't know where I am. Okay. So the dream is so much bigger. All right, let me tell you about one more story. About Pam and Robert. All right? Robert likes to also be called Bob. In the 1980s, they were in college at Jacksonville, Florida, where they went to school. And in 1985, she graduated from University of Florida, and he had already graduated. But instead of showing up to her graduation, they decided to run off in a loop the night of the graduation. I mean, she pretty much had already graduated, on paper. But she wasn't going to do the whole ceremony out on Downey-Dicklin Stadium. Like, she wasn't going to walk all that, right? So they decided to run off and get married. All right, they had 4 children. And then they decided to move to the Philippines. And in the Philippines, they wanted to be missionaries, and they also wanted to help build churches. Well, while she was there doing that, eating the food and drinking the water, come to find out it was contaminated. And she got this disease called anemic dysentery, all right? And it put her in a coma. All right, so they didn't know she was going to make it. Well, after she came out of the coma, she was given these really strong antibiotics from Walgreens, right? And the antibiotics were so strong, and during the treatment, she found out she was pregnant. But the antibiotics had already messed up the pregnancy when she found out she was pregnant. The placenta wasn't even attached. They told her the baby may not even make it, that if he did make it, he would have all these special needs. It would be so complicated, and you know what, it might even be a tumor growing. It might not even be a child, we can't tell. You have a choice to make. But back in the Philippines, it's against the law to have an abortion under any circumstance. And the doctor said, I think you need to end this pregnancy. We don't have a good feeling about this one. And we'll help you push the law to get this done. Well, they prayed about it, and Bob cried out to the Lord, and he said, Lord, if you will save my wife, and if you will save this boy, I will raise him to be a preacher. I will do whatever I have to do, Lord. Just please don't take him away from me. Well, fast forward, little boy's 3, okay, he's doing fine. They're like, we're getting out of the Philippines. Sorry, it's been a long trip. We're going to go home back to Jacksonville, Florida, right? So they moved back to Jacksonville, Florida. Little boy grows up some more, and he wakes up one day and he goes, Daddy, I think I want to play football. I think I want my name in lights. I think I want it to be like Greg Brady. No, that's my hamburger order at Jack Brown's. I want to be like Tom Brady. All right? Nobody got that except Lindsay. Okay. I want my name in lights. All right? I want to be like Tom Brady. I want everybody to know my name. Well, he got signed. He got first round draft with the Denver Broncos. All right? Later, he went on to the New York Jets. Later, he played his hand at some baseball. But along the way, this guy, his dream is much more than football, according to the Lord. This guy's name, let me tell you his full name. His full name is Timothy Richard Tebow. Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
This is this guy's story, all right? So he is, and they also call him Timmy. When I met with the CEO, the president, they kept calling him Timmy. I was like, who's Timmy, by the way? They're like, Tim Tebow? And I was like, oh, okay. I thought his name was Tim Tebow. But we're going to call him Timmy. Timmy starts 5 foundations. This is how much bigger God's dream is for Tim, other than playing his hand at football. He has 5 foundations. One of them is Night to Shine, which you guys all know. Well, he has some other ministries, and they go around the world saving babies. All right? So they're over in Haiti in 2012 when some of the students are walking to campus, and they hear this noise, and they're like, what is that noise? It's like the strangest cry you'd ever heard. And they investigate. They're all like, I think it's coming from this house. I don't know, from this house. They go over there, and there's a child laying on the doormat. All right? His name is Fransky. I want you to see what he looks like. His name is Fransky. If my computer will come on. And they stayed there waiting for the parent to show up. Oops, went away. Maybe come back. They waited there. That's Fransky. They waited for the mama to get back. They asked the neighbor, where's mama for this child laying on the doormat? And they said, well, she's gone into town into the grocery store. All right, that's cool. We'll wait. I don't know why she put her child on the mat, but okay. And it was a parent. He had severe and profound special needs, and he had club feet, and there was some other medical issues going on. My batteries, okay. I think my batteries are probably dying. And they waited there, and they waited, and night passed, and morning came, and they were still waiting on the parents. She finally came home, and they said, hey, we're happy to see you. We want to meet. We want to understand what's going on. Tell us what's going on. She said, well, this is my son, Fransky, and he's actually 3 years old in this picture, and he only weighs 13 pounds. He was malnourished. He had a form of malaria that was resistant to all the drugs that they even had available. And over in Haiti, They don't have provisions set aside. There's no therapy. There's no special ed teachers. There's no wheelchairs. There's no ramps to get in the building. There's absolutely nothing, okay? And it's very hard. And she said, I gave him to an orphanage in the next town, but they returned him. They returned him because they said he's resistant to, he's got issues, he's got malaria, he's resistant to drugs, it was something wrong with his feet. I can't even tell you what's wrong with his feet. And Lord knows he's got a whole other set of complications we don't even want to talk about. You can have him back. Months later, she went to a neighboring town and she abandoned him in the town. And they found out who it came from, and he was returned for the second time. All right, nobody wanted this child. And they said, with your blessing and everything that we know about God's dream and Tim Tebow and his foundation and the love and the support of all these foundations, we want to take him home. We want to get him orthopedic surgery. We want to get him the right medicine. We want to have plastic surgery to fix things. We want to love on this child. And she was like, you can have him. And they took him back, and I want you to know 2 years later, this is him. 2 years later, he was crowned king at a Night to Shine prom. And if that don't tug on your heartstrings, I don't know what can. So my point is, write your dreams in pencil, y'all. Ask God to mess them up. Stop trying to control every single thing. When you get in the car and you're already running late and then the train comes and you're like, oh my God, and you have all these choice words, perhaps it's God preventing you from an accident that was going to happen 3 streets ahead of you. Maybe there was a reason things are happening. Stop getting so short-tempered and anger over little things that aren't going right according to your plans. It could be that God has a bigger plan. Yes, he let Tim Tebow go ahead and play the baseball and have his name in lights and everybody knows his name, but that wasn't the dream God had for him. You know, God gave me a ton of talents. I can't sing, so don't go there. All right, but I can dance and I can draw and I can think of things and I have a business and I don't know what I can do. I can teach culinary and I'm not even a teacher. Hello, I don't even cook for my family, but I teach culinary. I mean, what sense does that make? So God gives me talents, but perhaps I never went anywhere because perhaps he's working on my character. Perhaps he's working on me. Perhaps my purpose in life is to be here for you tonight, to love on your child, to write your child and send them mail. I don't know what the dream is for me, but I know that I don't get mad when I didn't make it to Broadway. I know I didn't get mad when I couldn't stay in hip-hop class because I can't remember the routine 2 minutes after she showed all the young people, and I go to the back of the room going 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm like, what was that first step again? Because I can't remember. So I stopped getting mad at those things because that's not the dream for me. And I don't know that I even know what the end dream is, but every single thing I've done in life, somehow it's like a ball of candy that just keeps collecting more candy. And I would love to know what the end result is. But then again, when God told Abraham and Sarah they would have a child, and it won't happen on their watch and on their calendar and on their time frame, and Sarah intervened and tried to make it happen, it didn't really work out. Right? God said, I don't need your help. When he told Virgin Mary she was going to have a baby, and she's over there dreaming about what her and Joseph's baby was going to look like, and the angel Gabriel came down and said, no, girl, it ain't going to look like that. No. You know, this is going to be God's boy. This is going to be, Jesus is going to be his name. This has nothing to do with Joseph. The dream I have for you is so big. So, again, I think we all just kind of need to leave here tonight with a new, and that was the end of that. Okay. We just need to leave here tonight just knowing, write your dreams in pencil. Ask God to mess them up, because when he messes them up, you prosper. You become bigger and bigger and bigger. All right? Is that cool? All right. So let's close this out in prayer. I told you I talked too long. 7:15. All right. All right. Bow your heads. Father, I know that there are a lot of us in the room tonight who look way back and say, this is not what I thought I'd be doing. But we give it to you, Lord. We trust you. We love you. Please use me and others to serve others, to be an example to others for glory in your kingdom. Lord, we give it all to you. We know that the dream you have for us is far better than the one that we are thinking of. So we pray this now. Use us, Lord. Help us, guide us to make the right choices and not to be quick to anger at things that don't go right according to our plans. That you might be teaching us something in this very moment. We are your servants. In Jesus' name, amen. And I just want to also say, what happens? Are you going to get mad when your dream doesn't turn out the way that you had planned it? What if the dream is not even for you? I think there's some people in the room right now that have opened up their homes and they thought their house was going to be filled with children and grandchildren and triple grandchildren, and they have people living with them that aren't even related to them because their purpose in life is to serve. I really do. I think you're living the dream right now. You're in the midst of your dream. And I'm talking to Miss Linda. I think there are some people that have made impressions on me. I think there's some people that have lost some loved ones, and they didn't foresee that this was going to be their life right now without them in it. They didn't see that coming. They thought they were going to be here the whole time for their dream. But I promise you, you're in the middle of your dream, and you just got to know that at the end of this, you're going to look back and say, I gained something that now I can help someone else that's lost someone. And I think that's so important. All right? So, thank you. We are going to